All right, so let's find the least common denominator, LCD, of the expression. Okay, so when you are adding or subtracting fractions or just finding the least common denominator, you always start by factoring the denominators. So this little piggy right here looks like this when it's factored. And this denominator looks like this. So that's step one. Okay, now you know what the basic building blocks of your denominators are. 5x minus 3, 3x minus 3. So now we can go back over here and say, let's build the LCD. Okay, well, you got to take every factor from the denominators. So I'm going to need a 5. Okay, actually, I want to get rid of that one thing. And I'm going to need an x minus 3. And I'm going to need a 3. And x, whoa, I've already got x minus 3 up there, so I don't need to put another one there. Okay. Now, if this was x minus 3 quantity squared, then I'd say, then this guy here would demand that there are 2 x minus 3s in the LCD. And then I would have to say, oh yeah, let's put one more there, but that wasn't the case. Okay, so here's our LCD, and that's it. Problem done. Now, if you want, you can say 5 times 3 is 15 and write it like this. Or you could multiply the 15 through if you want. I really don't see the allure for doing that. But that's all you're doing. So you factor the denominators and then use all the factors to build your LCD. For ciao. Okay, exact same thing, but this time the denominators are quadratic. So we're going to get x minus 4, x plus 3. And then over here, we're going to get x minus 4, x minus 12. Okay. So my LCD, actually, I'm going to put it back up here like I did last time. So my LCD is going to be, well, the first factor, second factor, and then just keep going across. This one says I need an x minus 4. Well, we've already got it there, so don't sweat it. And then I need an x minus 12. Now, in the past, you have probably done problems where there were no variables and you were like, who cares about LCD? I'll just multiply by any denominator. And it worked fine. When you've got variables in there, it often becomes a lot harder if you don't pick the least common denominator. For example, I could have just said, hey, my denominator is going to be the x minus 4, the x plus 3, the x minus 12, and this extra x minus 4. And guess what? That would definitely be a common denominator, but it wouldn't be the least, the smallest common denominator. And therefore, when you start actually using that least common denominator to solve problems, it becomes unnecessarily difficult. Okay, so how about this little guy? Well, what goes right there? I don't know, but I'll bet we can figure it out together. So the question is, well, so I know that my denominator goes from x to 2x to the 9th. My numerator goes from -5 to who knows what, but my denominators, I know what they are. I know what they both are. So I could say, what did I multiply x by to get 2x to the 9th? Well, I multiplied it by 2, and I multiplied it by 8 more x's, so that these multiply together to give me the new denominator. Okay. Well, if I did it to the bottom, then I'd better do it to the top. So I'll multiply the top by 2x to the 8th. And -5 times 2x to the 8th is going to give me -10x to the 8th. Now, the original fraction and our and this resultant fraction, they should be equivalent. So again, plug them into the calculator, y1, y2, see if they match up. And if they don't, make sure you typed it correctly. But yeah, they should match up. Okay, same thing. Okay, so I got to figure out what I multiply this denominator by to get here. Then whatever that is, I'll multiply it by the numerator to get the new numerator. But I might have to do a little factoring. So what if I factor the GCF out of a second denominator, factor out of 3, and it looks like this? Then I can explicitly see, oh, I multiplied the 4v plus 5 by 3 to get the new result. And if you can see it without the factoring, that's fine, doesn't matter. Which means I should multiply the top by 3 as well. So negative 15 is what goes in the box. So it's the exact same concept as the last one, just slightly messier. Okay, on this one, let's try it without explicitly factoring it. What am I multiplying this guy by to get here? Pause the recording if you want to figure it out. Okay, I'll assume you paused it. Well, I multiply by -1. If I multiply by -1, yeah, all that does is change the sign on both of them. So I need to multiply the other one by -1. I get +2. That's my answer. And I can plug in the original fraction and the final fraction into y1 and y2 on my calculator and see if they match.